Greetings, family. Greetings, greetings, greetings. Greetings and gratitude to all my family, my friends and viewers. Yes, I hope you guys are doing well tonight. It's been a minute. I am off schedule for my videos, so I figured I would just make one tonight. I'm sorry, give me just a second. Okay. Yeah, greetings, guys. My name is Akila. Welcome back to my African Center travel vlog right here on YouTube. Um, Today, I want to talk about the African Union and their agenda for 2063. If you're not familiar with it, the African Union's Agenda 2063 is basically a blueprint for Africa's future. And the slogan, I love the slogan, it's the Africa we want, right? So literally, if you feel like, well, spiritually, if you feel like Africa is calling you home, well, literally, Mama Africa is literally calling us, the diaspora, home, right? So the heads of state got together and mapped out a plan for Africa's future, right? And so they've even added the diaspora, Africans in the diaspora, as the sixth region as part of this agenda. And so today, that's kind of what I want to talk about. I want to hit the highlights of the Agenda 2063 and also talk about the reversal of Africa's brain drain and how that plays a role in the agenda. So let's talk about it. I'll start off by saying that I am an advocate for the reversal of the brain drain of Africa, right? And I guess some people may not even know what that means. So the brain drain is in reference to the intellectuals that left the continent of Africa. And many of us may be familiar with Africans that have left the continent for greener pastures in recent times. But the biggest, most eventful brain drain was from the transatlantic slave trade, when, I mean, history tells us they took the best of the best of the best to build the West, right? So this Agenda 2063 is basically a call to action for Africans in the diaspora to come home and build the Africa that we want. You know, not those that just in recent years have left Africa for greener pastures, but those that are ascendants of the slave trade. It is literally a call for us to come home and build the Africa that we want. We don't have to beg massa for crumbs from his table. There is an opportunity on the table for us to go and build the Africa that we want. Why? Because Africa is for Africans. It is our birthright. It is the richest soil on the planet. And the Creator made it just for us. So, with that being said, when you start talking about moving to Africa, I know that makes a lot of people nervous, right? A lot of Black people, anyway. Nervous because most of us have not even lived outside of our hoods, our cities, our states, not long less our country. So when you start talking about moving outside of the country back to Africa, like that doesn't even look the same for everybody. Expatriation is not a one size fits all. Like expatriation for a single man with no children is not going to look the same for a family of seven. So again, it's just not a one size fits all thing. So, like personally, me myself, I started out with an expatriation plan because I've been wanting to move to Africa since I was a kid. And um, it wasn't until I was grown and actually start traveling and seriously thinking about it that, well, maybe I need to speed up that plan, especially with the racial climate and stuff going on here in America. I was like, well, maybe I need to speed up that plan, right? But I've got a lot of people to think about, you know? I got a whole husband that want to account for every move. So it ain't like, you when you got a family, there's again, it's not going to look the same for everybody. I know people who literally live part-time in Africa, part-time in America. You can't let other people dictate what your journey looks like. I even had a friend say some like sly stuff like when I came back from Ghana this last time, where I had lived there maybe for like 5 months. And she was like, "Oh, you back?" You know, kind of shady, like I'm an American. I am a citizen here. I have a right to come back. You can't dictate what my expatriation. It's kind of like you leaving us. That feeling your friends and family kind of give us when you start talking about moving to Africa. It's like you're betraying people. That guilt trip they try to give you. No, you don't get to dictate what my journey looks like. I can go back and forth as many times as I want to. Now, yes, there are plenty of people, well, I won't say plenty. There are people who leave and move to Africa and never look back. But many of us go back and forth for years before we finally settle because it's a big thing to chew. Okay. I mean, let's be serious. We're talking about moving from a first world country to a third world country. And that's not even your biggest challenge. Language barriers and cultural differences. And so, no, it isn't easy. But if you feel it in your heart to go, you go on your own time. And I tried the runaway slave approach. I talk about that on the channel all the time. There's plenty of, I think I said it a few times. I think I got a whole video about it. That don't work for me. It didn't work for me. I did one of those moves where I went and didn't have enough money and had to come back. Then I had to start really thinking about the debt and all other kind of shit that I would like. No, if I'm gonna make a real plan, it's gonna have to be a real plan. Because this is my journey and don't nobody get to tell me when and how it's done. I dictate that. Now, recently, that I had said, okay, well, retirement plan, I need to speed that up. Then I said, well, what about a 5-year plan? And I started mapping out a 5-year plan. And then COVID hit. I see a few people on social media like they didn't came up during COVID. I wasn't one of them. A nurse in a pandemic, I wasn't one of them. My finances took a big hit in 2020. So now I'm like, okay, look, the goal to move hasn't changed. I've just arranged some things. Now the goal is much simpler. I just want to be able to live outside of the country for 1 year. 1 year to be able to file taxes and see how I can lower my taxes by living abroad. I've learned this stuff and read about it in theory, But I've never lived outside of the country for an entire year to be able to file taxes and see how it lowers my taxes and have to go through those visa runs and all of that. I want to be able to experience that. I want that immigrant life. You know what I'm saying? So, not letting anybody dictate how that looks for you is very important. So now I just want to take a sabbatical. I just want to be able to save enough money to be able to take a year off of work and explore the continent and how I'm going to build a life there, how I'm going to grow a business there. It's a totally different world. It's not like moving to the next city. It takes research. So, knowing all of that, knowing what the African Union has, knowing the invitation on the table, knowing what the reversal of the brain drain is, some people may be still asking, like, well, what does that got to do with me? How does that affect me? How am I going to benefit from that? And so I'll tell you how it's going to affect you and how it's going to benefit you. Well, in this African Union Agenda 2063, one of the most wonderful things that they talk about, and I'll drop the links in the description to the African Union as well as the sixth region. If you want to become a member, I'll drop those links. But hold on just a second. One of the things that it talks about is being self-sufficient, right? And that is like a must needed thing for Black people globally. We need to be self-sufficient of our oppressor, period. And so I think we all know, but it's either that we don't care. Well, let me explain what I mean. We are literally participating. Like, we already know that racism is a global systemic issue, right? We as a society, we know this. But Black people, if you think of this system of racism, right, as a machine, Black people are literally all up and through the machine in every aspect of the system. We are interwoven. We may not be the orchestrators, but we work in every facet of this system of racism, white supremacy. So we help propel and fuel this machine. When we work and pay taxes to these renegade cops that kill our children, we're funding our own genocide. When the West goes and rapes the Congo for the mineral coltan to make cell phones and laptops, they only do it because of they're supplying your demand because you got to have a new iPhone every year. We're funding our own genocide. That's how it affects you. If you was wondering, that's how it affects you. And so this is what the agenda is talking about reversing. Now, how does it benefit you? Any intelligent, business-minded person that goes to Africa can see the lack of as an opportunity to build wealth, build generational wealth. Akon talks about it all the time, how you can go to Africa with a Fortune 500 company idea and be rich within 5 years. Is it easy? No. Can it be done? Yes. Is it being done? Yes. Look at all the white Asians and white Europeans and the white Arabs that's over there in Africa living their best life, building generational wealth and building their home countries too. So that's what's in it for you. Your birthright, a blank canvas to create. In Africa, all the economists and financial gurus agree Africa is the future. It's the last frontier. It is the only place on the planet that has not been fully developed yet. And Africa will be fully developed in the future. But will it be developed by us? Will it be the Africa that we want? That's the invitation on the table. And Africa's ready for an industrial boom. The majority of their population is young, Black, and unemployed. They're ready. So that's the challenge on the table, right? That's pretty much all I wanted to talk about as far as the African Union. Oh, I did want to hit some highlights. I'm moving too fast here through my notes. I wanted to hit some highlights before I conclude things of, I'm going to put the link and you guys can, read it on your own. Hello, Robert. How are you? But I want to hit some highlights. And it talked a lot about self-reliance, self-determination, seamless borders, free movement of people and goods and services. And it made me think about here recently where they started the initiative, the African Continental Free Trade Agreement, where they're breaking down the borders, the colonial borders. Africa was restricted from being able to trade and share with one another, do business with one another over these borders that was put there by colonial people. So now they're reversing that so that they can do business with one another, unify. Also, the African Union is coming up with a passport that will eliminate visas for African people to be able to move freely and do business with one another and network, which will heavily cut down on all this tribalism too. Mama Africa is doing her part, it seems like. Another thing that I liked is that the entire Agenda 2063 is based on the ideologies of Pan-Africanism, with ancestors like Kwame Nkrumah in mind. It talks about good governance and respect for human rights, gender equality. Oh my God. The talk about women driving the movement of the development of Africa. It was even one statement where they said by the year of 2063, they want women to occupy 50% of the elected public offices. And it made me think about Rwanda and how many female elected public offices that they have. Malawi in recent years had a female president. Africa is all about women empowerment. I don't think it was until we got with these other people that we start thinking that women are less than a man, that women need to be subservient and whatever they man want them to do, like their child. That came from white people. When white people came and invaded Africa and saw how the Black man was worshiping his woman, he was like, no, we don't do that around here. We hit our bitch over the head with a club drag her back to the cave and rape her where she have all our children. They wasn't used to a man putting his woman on the pedestal. The universe was created with a masculine and feminine energy that complements one another. It was Africa who put the woman in divinity. It was the European that took her out and replaced her with a ghost. So Africa is all about women empowerment, and it really showed up in the Agenda 2063. I was really impressed. It talked about youth empowerment, taking control of the resources. It made me think about my recent trip to Tanzania, where President Magufuli made some recent changes to the laws and how it, affected the local miners, to give them business, taking control of the resources. World-class infrastructure and transportation and energy. It talked about looking inward for ourselves. Like, ain't nobody coming to save us. If we want to be liberated and we want Africa to be the Africa that we want, we have to build it. Because they ain't gonna allow us to build no Wakanda within Western civilization. We're gonna have to go back to Africa for that. And most importantly, I was so impressed with where it said, by the year of 2063, Africa will have the capacity to secure and protect its citizens and their interests through common defense. Because anything you build, you got to protect it, or they're going to come take it. So just imagine all of Africa's military coming together. That's powerful. That's powerful. We get our force, our brains, and everything together. That's powerful. Liberation can come just from loving ourselves more. We ain't got to fight nobody. Just from being self-determined and loving ourselves more. So, in conclusion, that's the invitation on the table. You can either stay in the West and continue to beg for crumbs from Master's table and fight with each other. You don't even want to share with your crumbs with your neighbor. Keep birthing children in a hostile environment. We keep doing this generation after generation after generation. Don't make none of them. They warmongers. They love it. Or we can create our own table. How about that? Or we can create our own table. But we ain't got to beg nobody for a seat. We can get a seat to all our cousins, build our own table, and make sure everybody we know look like us is sitting around it. Why? Because Africa is for Africans. So that's our choice, Black people. We can continue to participate in our own demise, or we can separate and build our own. That is the choice on the table. So I'd like for this to be a challenge. I really would. We always coming up with these silly ass challenges and shit. If you got the money, you got the resources, you got the brains, take your business to Africa and build generational wealth. We as Black people, we act like we got a problem with generational wealth because we too busy gathering our crumbs from Mouse's table. We can't even think about the next generation, our children's children. Literally, I got so frustrated selling life insurance at one time. I was like, these niggas don't want life insurance. You got to literally beg people, Black people, to get life insurance. It's like we feel like if we get life insurance, I don't know, we signing our life away or something. You got plenty of people, Black people, they say we disproportionately COVID. How many of y'all got life insurance? If you die today or tomorrow, will your children be able to take that money, go on and move it and build something? Think about more than just yourself. We have to think about our lineage. And love for ourselves don't mean hate for nobody else. Don't let nobody convince you that what I'm talking about is hate for nobody else. I'm talking about loving ourselves. I just said it. The liberation will come in loving ourselves. Like I say all the time in conclusion, Black love is Black power. Why do I say that? It's not all about us being kumbaya and liking each other. It's about the fact that we realize there's a responsibility to the race. Be one, Black first. I don't need to be in love with you to know that I need to work with you so that we both can come up. So yeah, the African Agenda 2063. Africa wants to be united and be on the world stage as a world power. And it's going to be done. It's going to be done with or without us. It's going to be done. But the agenda is just about the Africa we want. Africa going to be developed. But will it be an Africa for Africans is the question. All right, guys. That is it for me. If this was some news you can use, please like, please share, and hit that notification bell because I don't know when my next upload gonna be. No, seriously. It may be tomorrow. It may be in 2 weeks. I'm trying. I'm finding out that all the successful content creators do daily content. I ain't there yet. It's a goal. I'm trying. So hit that notification bell. And Black love is Black power. And I'll see you guys in the next video.